On today's episode, your 2018 Europe's Toughest Mudder champion, Ulrikke Evensen.
This is the world's toughest podcast. Welcome to the world's toughest podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's world's toughest mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the world's toughest podcast.
Welcome back to World's Toughest Podcast. My name is Will Hicks. Thank you for listening to the number one podcast in obstacle course racing. If you would like to help us stay number one, you can leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Amazon. You are invited. Yes, you. On today's show, Ulrikke Evensen. Do you remember how Rhea Coble came out of nowhere last year and started winning everything? Ulrikke is doing the same thing on the International Tough Mudder circuit this year. She won Tougher Mudder at London West Weekend 1. She won second place at Tougher Mudder London West Weekend 2 the next weekend. And she just won Europe's Toughest Mudder this past weekend. We're going to talk with her about the race. Before we start, you can email me at willhicks@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at World's Toughest Podcast. And you can be a part of the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Amazon. And I will read it on a future episode. Let's talk about Europe's Toughest Mudder. Your top three men were, in first, Tristan Steed with 45 miles. In second, Tom Twiddell with 45 miles. In third, Connor Hancock with 45 miles. Tristan Steed finished first with 45 miles. Tristan is the first person in the world to win Tougher Mudder on Saturday morning and then win Toughest Mudder Saturday night. Well done, Tristan. Tom Twiddell finished in second with 45 miles, like Tristan, in first place. Tom led most of the race before being passed by Tristan on the ninth lap. Tom finished his final full lap 62 seconds behind the first place Tristan at about 7:25 in the morning. Tristan and Tom were both there and in the quick pit area after their ninth lap, their 45-mile lap, and they decided together they were going to go back out for another lap, their 50th lap, their 50-mile lap, to decide the winner. Unfortunately, they did not complete that lap before 8:30, so that last 5 miles did not count. The 45-mile finish time stood and determined the winner. It was a great race between the top two men. In third place was Connor Hancock with 45 miles. Connor finished his 45 miles at 7:50 a.m., so he was not eligible to go out for another lap with Tristan and Tom. Congratulations to Tristan, Tom, and Connor. Your top three women were, in first, Ulrikke Evensen with 45 miles. In second, Trish Eckstein with 40 miles. And in third, Susanna Kraus with 40 miles. And first was Ulrikke Evensen. This was Ulrikke's second Europe's Toughest Mudder. Last year, she finished in third. Her results were hampered by some technical stuff. We're going to get into that a little when I talk with Ulrikke. But last year, they gave her a bib that was assigned into the men's category. So she did not know where she stood against all the elite women for almost the entire race. In second was Trish Eckstein. Trish is an elite obstacle course racer and trainer out of South Africa. In third place was Susanna Kraus. Susanna won Europe's Toughest Mudder in 2017 and finished second at World's Toughest Mudder in 2016 behind only Stephanie Bishop. Congratulations to the top three women. I would love to get into all the stats and numbers about Europe's Toughest Mudder right now. I would love to compare this year's Europe's Toughest to last year's Europe's Toughest and compare the second toughest mudder of the year to the first toughest mudder of the year, but I cannot. The stats, the course rankings and results and everything for Europe's toughest mudder are not online yet. I'm recording this on Monday morning. They ran the race Saturday night, Sunday morning. I'm sure it's just an international thing, and once the offices all open on Monday, it will be taken care of, but we cannot get into that today. Instead, let's read some iTunes reviews. First review this week comes from Paul W. of Delaware. Paul writes, 5 stars. It's a great podcast to listen to, as long as we get to hear Rhea Coble say 5 stars instead of you, Will. Really? It's a great podcast to listen to, as long as we get to hear Rhea say
5 stars.
instead of you, Will. There you go, Paul W.
5 stars.
I hope you're happy.
5 stars.
We were doing that for a while, taking 5-star requests. I had a soundboard going. I still do. I've got 10 or 12 different people giving me 5 stars. I've got Rhea.
5 stars.
I've got Matt B. Davis.
5 stars.
I've even got Matt and Jessica Lister's kids.
5 stars!
I've got Caitlin Ritter from Obstacle Running Adventures.
5 stars.
I can't do it.
I could do this all day. Taking requests like a DJ now. If you'd like to be a part of the show like Paul W., you can leave a review on iTunes also. On iOS, that's your iPhone, open the Purple Podcast app, search for World's Toughest Podcast, and click Write a Review. On Android, go to Amazon and search for World's Toughest Podcast. Click the Enable Skill button, and then click the Write a Customer Review button, and I will read it on a future episode. Ulrikke Evensen is one of the most exciting athletes to come out of Denmark since Peter Schmeichel, or Michael Knudsen. She finished 3rd at her first Europe's Toughest Mudder in 2017, in 5th at her first World's Toughest Mudder in 2017, and in 1st at Europe's Toughest Mudder 2018. It's time to talk with Ulrikke Evensen. Let's go to the phones. Ulrikke Evensen, thank you for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
Ulrikke, you won 1st place at Europe's Toughest Mudder this weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
We're talking about a day and a half after the race. You ran 45 miles. How do you feel?
Tired, but very happy, very excited for the race. Had a very good race, and it went perfectly, so very happy.
I saw the conditions were pretty rainy, at least at the beginning. Tell me about the weather.
Yeah, so we're about to start, and actually I couldn't really decide what to wear clothing-wise, because it was like 9 or 10 degrees Celsius, but it was supposed to rain all night, and there was a lot of water on course, so it was a bit like, okay, how warm am I gonna get when I run, and how much neoprene should I wear? I usually run better in the cold than in the like a warm weather, so so anyway, I decided to go with my shorty wetsuit, and I just sipped it down all the way. And actually, as soon as I started running, I didn't really notice the rain. I think it rained a lot in the beginning, and then I think it stopped during the night. But yeah, I don't really notice it when I run.
What was the course like?
Oh, it was good, actually. It was a bit different from last year. They had some obstacles that weren't there last year, a pole dancer, and some tube, boa constrictor, and of course, a lot of the Tough Mudder obstacles that you know. The course was, the course marking was pretty much the same as last year, so a bit of a climb on every lap, and pretty good course. The opening of the obstacles were a bit different as well. So last year they had all the obstacles open pretty much all night, and last night it was like they opened some obstacles, and then every obstacle was open, and then they closed some. So it was more like flowing. I think that worked pretty well, so you could get like a better running in.
I heard about that. They would randomly open obstacles at like 3:00 in the morning and then close them at 5:00. Is that? I mean, not those exact times, but just kind of random obstacles open, obstacles close.
Yeah, sure. And that was kind of what I expected last year. So last year, I was like, every time I got to an obstacle, I was like, is it open? Is it not open? And I think that's kind of exciting. So you don't really know what you're going to get. So I kind of like that you didn't know, like, okay, am I going to do Octagoning all night, or is it going to be closed in the morning, or how does this work? So I found that pretty exciting.
Does that mess with you mentally while you're running? Like, you don't know, like Ardanima, you don't know if you're going to have to get cold and wet on, that particular lap.
Yeah, I guess for some people that would mess with them. For me, it's a good thing, because then I kind of can occupy my mind with something else than just running the same obstacles over and over again. Then, like, if there's just a bit of a change, then you're like, oh, okay, maybe I can speed up a bit here when I don't have the obstacle, or now I have to push a little bit more because I had to do this obstacle this round, or so. And that way, I think it's pretty good for me, at least, that I can get something else to think about than just doing the same thing over and over again.
So the start of the race, we talked about the weather was really, really bad. How fast did you come out? What were the first few hours for you like?
Well, it was raining a lot in the beginning, and my strategy was actually a bit different than it was last year, and also at Worlds, because I tend to hold a lot back in the beginning. But then I thought this year that, like, okay, there's going to be like about maybe an hour or something before they open a lot of the obstacles. So I just thought, okay, just go out hard and then just test that out. So I tried that kind of for the first time, going out a bit harder. And yeah, it worked really, really well for me. So it was good.
Yeah, obviously it worked out. You got first place.
Yeah, well.
Two of the women that you were racing against, Trish Eckstein and Suzanne Kraus, got second and third. What was the race like between the three of you?
Yeah, so Susanna, she won last year. I didn't actually know she was going to come. But when I heard she was there, I was like really kind of excited and nervous, because I know that she's a pretty fast runner. And we kind of battled it out from the beginning. So we ran together, I think, more or less like 2.5 rounds, something like that. And she was a bit faster, so I let her go. And that was actually better for me mentally, because then I could just run my own race instead of like having to chase her or her chasing me. We have like 8 hours to run, so there's no point in doing that from the very beginning. So it was really close from the beginning, and then I actually didn't see them at all during the whole night. And I thought actually until the very last round, or I think second to last round, that I was in second place. So I didn't know that I was leading the race, actually.
Say that one more time. At your last pit stop, you saw you were in second place?
Yeah. Well, it was because I got a pit very last minute. A guy from UK called Sam who offered to pit for me, and he never really told me that I was in first place. He just kept saying, "You're smashing it." And for me, like, I don't really know what that means in my head. It just means like, okay, am I smashing it for like second place, or am I just like doing well for me, or what do you mean? So I was like, okay, whatever, just keep running. And then my second to last, or like my last lap, but my eighth lap, then they started filming me, and they started like driving around and filming me, and I was like, okay, this is weird. Maybe this means that I'm in first place anyway. So yeah, I didn't really know until the very end. Yeah.
You mentioned Sam pitting for you. How did your pit stops go?
Very quick. Last year I didn't really want to stop at all. I think I stopped like 2 times last year and almost didn't eat anything, because I don't like wasting time. So I literally just, whenever I got through the finish, I was just screaming like salt or water or something, and it's like threw it at me and just kept running. So I just don't like wasting time. So it was like, I don't know, 10 seconds, really short.
Last year you got 30 miles. This year you got 45 miles. Why do you think you got so many more miles this year?
Several reasons. So last year it was my very first Tough Mudder, the toughest, and I had no expectations. I've really just like stumbled into this sport in a way that I didn't know that I could get any good. So I didn't race last year. It was just like for fun. So, and also another thing was that last year I was registered as a man, so I had no idea how I was placed until the very last bit of the course, where they got my name fixed. So several reasons, because I didn't push at all last year.
Okay, so tell me about that. So last year they made a mistake and had you in the men's category instead of the women's. And then, so you didn't know where you were, like mileage-wise or place-wise, where you were against the other women. And then they had to sort that out during the race, right?
Yeah. That was very unfortunate. So I was actually on my, again, it was my second to last lap. I think that was my sixth lap, actually. So it was my last lap. And then I saw Sarah Knight coming up behind me, and she was wearing a leader bib. And like to be nice, you remove yourself like when there's a leader coming from behind. So I was like thinking that she was lapping me. So I just asked her, how many rounds are you on? And she said, this is my sixth lap. And I was like, what? This is my sixth lap. And I was in front of her, and I didn't wear a leader bib. So I knew that something was wrong.
Sure.
And so then I ran to the registration, and they had to sort it out. But then it was too late, of course, because she had passed me, and like then the race was kind of over from then, because it was in the morning. So yeah, that was kind of sad, but yeah, those things can happen, I guess. Now they know I'm a girl anyway.
So you finished third last year. You finished first this year. You also ran World's Toughest Mudder last year and did pretty well. You finished in the top 5. Tell me about World's Toughest Mudder.
Yeah, so World's Toughest Mudder was kind of an experience like my first Toughest Mudder, that I just went into it without any expectations, and I really held back from the beginning, because I didn't have any idea if my body could run for 24 hours. So I just thought, okay, really, really hold back so don't burn out. So yeah, it was really interesting to see that there was different strategies, and that like Rhea, she could just like go out from the beginning and still hold her pace all the way through. Very interesting and very good learning experience anyway. But yeah, definitely returning this year and probably a bit more competitive. Let's see about that.
So your first year, you go in with zero expectations. You run 80 miles, and you're in the top 5. What are some of those lessons you learned last year that you're going to take back this year?
Probably that I'm going to try to go out a little bit harder from the beginning. Not like super hard, but just like not hold back as much as I did last year. Because we had a lot of running before the obstacles opened last year. And yeah, I didn't know that. So I could have run a little bit further from the beginning. So I'll try to do that this year, and then see where that takes me. But again, you never know. On the day, anything can happen.
You know, they mix it up. Like that. This last year was the first year they've done that, where there were very few obstacles for the first 4 hours. And then,
yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
And then at Europe's, just yesterday or day before, with the random opening and closing of obstacles, they've never done that before either. So they're definitely mixing things up lately.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying off a bit of different things and different strategies, and then they'll see what works for them. But that's also like kind of a funny twist to the game, because then you never know what to expect.
I think that's an advantage for the men and women who are mentally strong. They can roll with whatever Tough Mudder throws at them.
Yeah. It's a good point.
So this year at Europe's Toughest, you were in the lead, and you knew you were in first place when you crossed the finish line. Tell me, what did it feel like to win Europe's Toughest Mudder?
Incredible. Like I didn't expect it. Of course, the Danish guys that I had with me, they're really rooting for me, and I was even on the like contender list that I haven't been on before, like online. But I tried to shut that down when I was running and just ran my own race. So running across the finish line as the first female was just amazing. Really, really incredible experience.
Your second year in a row on the podium, this year on the top. What was that podium experience like?
It was wonderful. It's a funny thing, because like those podium moments, it's like, I don't know, it's a few minutes, but really what you're proud of, or at least for me, is my performance out there. So had I won and not given my all, I wouldn't have been proud. But I really know that I just gave my all on every lap. So when I finished, I was proud, no matter if I had been like 5th or first. So I think that's what really counts, because it's those 8 hours that lead up to it that makes those like few moments worth it on the stage, right? So yeah, so it's the process.
Ulrikke, that's such a good point. We tell our kids, just try your best, just do your best. That's what's important, is to do your best. And whether you get first or 21st, that's a good feeling to just know you left it all out there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what my mom tells me. And that's just wonderful to have that support and just know that whenever I go to a race, even though a lot of people are looking and maybe expecting or hoping for something, that like I can come home with whatever, and the people around me, they're still proud as long as I did my best. And I think that's very important for everybody to just like remember that the people who are close to you, they'll be proud no matter what. If you just do your best and just do what you love, then nothing else matters.
Ulrikke, do you have any plans to go to any other Toughest Mudders this year?
Yeah, I'm planning to go to the Berlin one. I was going to go to the Scotland one, but that got cancelled. So yeah, I'm going to the Berlin one, and then of course World's Toughest. What are your goals for Berlin? First place again? Well, let's see about that. Right now, it seems like far away in a way, but I guess when September comes around, I'll be ready. And then World's Toughest Mudder, your second year at World's Toughest Mudder, what are your goals or expectations going in this year? Well, I won't say that I have any expectations in that way, because, again, as you said, you never know what they're going to do with the course or the opening of the obstacles, so you can never really expect anything. But you kind of get your eyes on that orange jacket, right? So you kind of want to be like, so that would be a cool goal. We'll see. You know what? You're not wrong. Women have been knocking on that door for a little bit now. Amelia's got 90 miles. Rhea got 90 miles. It's going to happen eventually. Yeah, exactly. Ulrikke, do you have any sponsors or anything you'd like to plug? Yeah, so I work with my two main sponsors are K-Laser Scandinavia. That's like laser therapy that some physiotherapists use. They're supporting me. And then Reborn, who's an OCR race in Denmark. Then I've got 2XU and VJ Sport. That's my clothing and my shoe sponsor. And that's my main ones. Then I've got Cliff and my physiotherapist in Denmark. So I've got a lot of good people behind me. I'm very grateful for that. Tell me about that laser therapy. I've never heard of that. Yeah, it's K-Laser. That's, it's like a red laser that you can use for pretty much anything. People also use it for animals, veterinarians. They have it at a lot of big physiotherapists. They have, laser therapy for, let's say you have, it could be anything from bone bruises to like something with your ligaments or like shin splints. It can treat like pretty much anything. So that's very good when you're recovering from something like World's Toughest Mudder or anything like that. Or if I have an injury, it's really good. So yeah. Ulrikke, do you have any last thoughts on Europe's Toughest Mudder 2018? I just want to say thank you to everybody on course. I wrote a bit about it on my last post here on Instagram, but it's just that I feel so grateful that everybody out there just helping each other reach their own personal goals. It's just so inspiring to run around and people are cheering for you even though they don't know you and helping you up different obstacles, and it's just an amazing community. So I just want to thank everybody on the course and also the volunteers. We couldn't do that without them. It's an amazing sport, and I love everybody in the sport. Thanks to everybody. Ulrikke Evensen, thanks much. Thank you, Will.
Special thanks to Ulrikke Evensen for appearing in this episode. Well done, Ulrikke. She mentioned her Instagram page. You can find her on Instagram at Ulrikke_Evensen. That's ULRIKKE_Evensen. Ladies in the U.S., look out for her at World's Toughest Mudder. We'll see you next time. Go spend time with someone you love.